Merchandiser of the Year for Public Facilities, Kennedy Swann Bodiford of Tokatee Golf Club. Merchandiser of the Year for Private Facilities, Blake Netter of Rock Creek Country Club. And Merchandiser of the Year Resort, Jessica McClellan of Bandon Dunes, Old Macdonald.
Now, there's one thing that these three fine folks have in common other than their fantastic merchandising skills. Who knows what that is? Besides good looks, there's that. They're all three from the Oregon chapter. So congratulations. I don't know what's going on in the water in Oregon, but there must be something there for sure. And I know the three of you let's begin by thanking those that stand with you in the box there, your spouses and your significant others.
Yeah, absolutely. My fiance is a golf professional as well, so we know the deal. It's honestly what makes it work so great for us, but also the team at Bandon couldn't do it without them. Starts from the top with Jeff Simons, who I know would have loved to be here right now, but unfortunately was not able to. But then it goes down to my team, my assistants that work in our golf shop. Couldn't do anything without them.
Yeah, thank you for having me up here. Jeez, thank you for having me up here. I definitely want to start with the staff as well. I've got 3 PGA associates. Brock Sargent, who I'm playing with this week, Shelly Liddick, and Katya Kurkowski are all a huge part of the team. We couldn't do it without them. The awards committee for sure. Chris Meervold from the Oregon chapter. And last but not least, my wife, Jordan, who is 27 weeks pregnant tomorrow.
I'd also like to thank the staff at Tokatee. I've got a great staff, great assistant pro, Josh Starr, a couple great shop guys. Our owner, Mark Justino, is amazing, gives us a lot of freedom to kind of do as we see fit, which is amazing. And I'd like to thank my husband, Logan, who is not a golfer at all in the slightest. We've tried, but the hope is still out there.
Now, Blake, no pressure. Just saying, but these two have made it into the national conversation for the national awards. So congratulations to Jessica and Kennedy. It was fun reading your applications. I sit on the national awards committee for the PGA of America, and it was made me so proud to read through your applications and see what you've done, because we always stress innovation. That's really what we're talking about. And I hope you all have the Notes app open on your phones, because you're going to be taking some serious notes tonight. And the first question I have for all of you, because I know especially Kennedy, I've worked with some really good merchandisers in my day. They all own their own shops. And Kennedy, you have your own money in the mix. What's that like?
So yeah, when I took over in 2022, we did a full remodel, and that was just kind of gutting things from the top down. And so it was definitely a learning experience. I kind of filled a general contractor's shoes without having any experience in how to do that, which was a lot of fun. But we rebuilt the counter ourselves, painted, ripped out all of the 80s green carpet, and put in LVP, picked all of the display racks ourselves and installed them all. It was really fun to get to kind of see the process build from the bottom up and be a part of it. So now looking back 4 years later, you know, all of your blood, sweat, and literal tears that went into building the Pro Shop counter, you get to see. So it was a really awesome experience going forward.
Now, all three of you walked into your shop on that first day at some point, and you said, oh yeah, no, that's got to change. What did that look like?
So before my time at Old Mac, I'd worked at multiple different golf courses at Bandon Dunes, and being that, I had worked in the biggest shop as well as the newest shop, and then I got to Old Mac, which I'm sure most everyone in the room is familiar with. It is small, but it's mighty. So my biggest shock was storage. We sold a Seamus head cover off of our, headwear tree or our head cover tree, and I went to the closet and I couldn't even find the Seamus head covers in my closet. And I go, okay, how can I expect an assistant to do this, to dig through, several boxes to try to find that one head cover? That's not easy, that's not fast, but we only have space for one on the floor. So my biggest thing right off the bat was storage solutions. So I got to get creative with it, using anything from, even walking the store in Walmart in the afternoon for my groceries, going down the aisles of storage, of bins, whatever it was, buying my favorite, I have 4 of them, closet organizers for shoes that go on the back of your door. They're fantastic for head covers or socks, like anything, little trinkets that you could have. It just makes it so easy to then see. So you open the door and it's like, oh, hey, I already know it's right here. Or no, sir, sorry, I know we're out of that. Or, you can see we're out of it, but this is what we do have. So that for me was the biggest thing going in, to then be able to restock the floor as fast as possible. Yeah, just about.
I caught our shop at actually an awesome time. We were in a transition period, obviously, after a couple head pros in a couple years. They had just done a remodel, so I didn't have to go through the remodel, which was very nice as well. And the first thing that I really noticed was we were low on inventory, not a ton of stuff in the shop, but we had like 5 different logos in play. And they were small variations of the same logo. But for me, it was that I really wanted to streamline the logo. So I worked with one of our members, owns an embroidery company in Portland. Worked with him. He was able to pump out about 4 different ones that we ended up choosing the best one from, and able to streamline that into all of the manufacturers now, and one logo in the shop.
I would say, aside from the green stained carpet, our fitting room had wallpaper straight out of the 80s that was old Scottish women with the traditional Scottish golf apparel from the top up. And there was a pile of dead mice, probably from my torso up, stuck in the drywall. So we blow out the drywall, and as I'm blowing out the drywall, this giant pile of rotting mice carcasses falls head to toe from me to my assistant greenskeeper, just all over us. And we rock, paper, scissors, who's gonna hold the trash bag and who's gonna hold the shovel. And I lost. I had to get the shovel and shovel them into the trash bag. And since then, there's no rotting mice smell in the fitting room. Hopefully that never comes back. But that was the immediate, we have to get rid of this. Because someone would open the fitting room door and you just smell rotting mice.
So other than shoveling rotting mice, and nobody's ever mentioned that phrase in the entire existence of mankind, what is your single greatest initiative in your shops?
There's been a lot. I think the one that I'm most excited about is something that we're doing this year. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dash Clip. They're doing a laser engraving process. And this year I've built something that I named the Scratch Bar. And so it's a laser that we're doing custom engraving on site. I made a big old leather booklet with all of the different engraving options, all the different Tokatee designs that we've had, all the different font options. We can do bag tags, wallets, mini tags. We have Zinn containers, which have been extremely popular. We've been open 2.5 weeks, and I've sold 12 out of the 36 we've ordered. And I assume during our busy season, it's going to be even more popular. But it's something that's just unique that gets me out from behind the counter to where I get to engage with customers and kind of be a part of their experience. And they get to pick everything that they want to do. So it's really cool.
Yeah, like Kennedy said, I'm very proud of a few things over the last couple years. But for me, I know it's super popular at private clubs. It had never been done at Rock Creek. We throw an annual holiday vendor night, where we started the first year with 6 vendors. We bumped it up to 11 this year. At Rock Creek, our credit book expires at the end of the year, so it's a great way for our members to come out. It's actually even turned into more of even a social event, a shopping event at our club. And last year we did, it's crazy, we did $17,000 in sales in one night, one vendor night at Rock Creek. So very cool.
I'll focus more on the staff's perspective. So one thing that I do with our guys is everyone has a role. That's how I create the buy-in for them to present the best service possible when the guest walks in the door. But it goes in a couple different ways. It also gets them, they're more passionate about it. I'm able to share my passion of what I do day to day, even those small, minute things. It's like, hey, let's look at this sell-through board. Why don't you look at these SKUs for me? Let's do a spot check here. But my favorite one is probably our product knowledge specialist that I nominate. It's every 6 months we turn over to a different assistant to kind of get some variety in their lives of the very monotonous job that they do day to day, where they investigate and bring everything to the table that they can about a brand in particular. It could be a new brand to our shop, or it could be that brand that's been there forever, but maybe not everyone knows the specifics. So then they're our go-to person. They are helping to train the rest of our staff. Again, that helps them when they're ready for that next role, because at the end of the day, as a head golf professional, we're training our staff to one day hopefully have our job in a way, or be able to do it, like it was said earlier, if we're not around, if we're not able to be there for that week, and know that it's still being done as we would like it to be.
Well played. Dash Clip, Choice of Champions. They are a sponsor of our Pacific Northwest section. Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you, Kennedy. Okay, now, the hard question, following along what Howie said earlier, what is the biggest failure you've had in your shop? And what did you learn from that? I apologize. In other people's shops that you've seen.
Oh, I got a good one. My first year taking over, we ordered a bunch of glassware for the pro shop. I didn't know the difference between screen printed glassware and laser etched glassware. So I ordered 200 pint mugs, like 100 rocks glasses, and like 100 shot glasses that were screen printed. So I sold them pretty well through like the first 6 months, and then I started having people come back in the shop saying, hey, after like 2 or 3 rounds of the dishwasher, the logo's gone. And so then everyone started figuring out, I don't want to buy these because if you put them in the dishwasher, the logo's gone. So I still have them sitting up in the attic. I've tried tea prizes. People have denied them as tea prizes if I don't want them. And I learned very quickly that you need to have etched glasses and not screen printed glasses, and spent a lot of money in the process trying to figure that out.
I don't know if it would be in the failure category, but I know a big challenge for all of us, especially at private clubs, is tea prizes every year. We do tea prizes for our member and our member guest event, and it seems like the tea prizes either never live up to the expectations of the member, or it's just not quite what they're looking for. It's like, you've got to order 100 things for the same, 100 of the same things for all different people. So I think it's super difficult and something that's still working to perfect, but we've kind of made it something that our members look forward to every year. And it's not just something that they get, but it's also a piece to the tournament.
I'd say one of my biggest lessons learned is to not overpromise and underdeliver, to rather just set the expectations and go from there. So one example would be special ordering when it's maybe not possible, just because when we have our assistants in the shop versus my first assistant and I, they might not know what we're actually able to get in. They might just see the item online, well, great, that's actually discounted, or whatever the case is. So rather we do a merch wait list, which has been a really good option. With items that are coming back in on those fill orders that we already have coming, the guests will leave their name and phone number with us, and then we can ship it when they get there or when we get it in. And again, that's one of our designated roles in the golf shop, is our merch waitlist person. But definitely, lesson learned in year one was not to overpromise and to rather, actually be able to deliver on what we would like to.
Sweet. Are you still taking notes out there? Okay, what's one brand you're going to drop this year? Okay, we're going to go with a different question. Frank, who are those sponsors again? And are they here? Yeah, we're going to never ask ChatGPT what a great lightning round question is going to be. What's going to be your best seller this year?
All right. Our best seller already through, however far we are in Q1, Holderness and Bourne, without a doubt, has been great. I mean, everything is going well, but Holderness is kind of a newer brand for us in the golf shop. It's great. I mean, you can't really go wrong with it. It's that classic polished look, but yet mixed with performance.
I'm super excited about, we've got a lot of Bettinardi product coming in this year. They make an amazing putter, but also they do amazing custom accessories as well. Our sales representative, Tom Graves, actually reached out to the city of Portland for us and got the okay to use the kind of the iconic Portland stag sign that you see downtown, and we're printing that on stitching that on merchandise this year. Super excited about some custom product coming in.
So I mentioned Dash Clip. That's obviously a great one. But one design that we just did, we did a knockoff of the Grateful Dead Bears, which I'm a Deadhead, so I can appreciate that. But we did, instead of the 5 traditional dancing bears, they're the Tokatee bears. So we've got a golfer, a naked guy carrying a beer, a paddler, a fly fisher, and a caddy. And it's on a tie-dye t-shirt that says Tokatee Golf Club and has the bears. We got them in 6 days ago. We ordered 72, and we've already sold through over half our stock in 6 days. So to each their own, but that fits our clientele pretty well.
Can we order those?
I'd like to ask Tim how that would go here at Broadmoor.
Yeah, Tim Feenstra is our host PGA member here, and he owns his own shop here. So, Tim, I think he was asking you that question. He's calling you out there, but okay. Last question. You got a room full of PGA members in here. Lots of them have have a stake in their own shop. What one thing would you tell them to do starting tomorrow that maybe they haven't done yet?
I would say institute those shop roles that make the most sense to you. Take someone under your wing for even a couple weeks to let them really dive into that role and then see what they can do with it and let them bring ideas to the table. We're always looking for that new, fresh idea, and it's oftentimes the guys in our shop that are playing golf every day, going out on the course, talking to other people. That's sometimes what we don't hear, so it's always good to have those different opinions come in.
For us in the Portland area, we've got obviously a ton of competition. For me, one of the first things I noticed was that we were letting a ton of business go out the door with club repair. I know maybe it's not our favorite thing to do as golf professionals, but just throwing on a grip for somebody, just bending a club, when we send that elsewhere, for me, I know from experience, when we send that elsewhere, it not only is a bent club, but then it's also a dozen golf balls or a golf bag or whatever that might be at one of the big box stores. So for me, it's club repair has turned into a ton of business for us.
Coming at you from the public side, I would just challenge you to do something different. We've really tried to think outside of the box over the last 4 years, and we brought in dog collars and leashes last year, and that was something that was really well received, and it's just something that you would never think about doing. But the random accessories or the random, tie-dye Grateful Bears, that kind of thing, just do something different that you think might engage your members, engage your public play, that is different than your day-to-day, just, golf polos, golf balls, bags.
One of the ideas I saw at the national level was one of the merchandisers of the year, they sold $120,000 watches in their pro shop. So, Tim, how's that back stock working for you? And you got one left? Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, our merchandiser of the year, Jessica McClellan, Jake Netter, and Kennedy Deadhead Swann Bodiford. Thank you all very much.